The dramatic saga unfolding within the British royal family in early 2026 centered on a single, explosive arrest that threatened to unravel decades of carefully managed public perception. It began with Prince Andrew, once a prominent figure, now reduced to a peripheral, scandal-plagued exile, being taken into custody. The event sent shockwaves across the United Kingdom and beyond, exposing not just individual wrongdoing, but the potential for deep-seated betrayal at the heart of the monarchy itself. On the chilly morning of February 19, 2026, under a heavy, leaden sky, officers from Thames Valley Police executed a swift and decisive raid. The target was a modest, unremarkable two-story rental property in Buckinghamshire, where Andrew had quietly relocated after being forced out of more prestigious royal residences like Royal Lodge. The sharp, insistent banging on the door at approximately 6:45 a.m. shattered the early quiet. When the door swung open, Andrew appeared disheveled, gray dressing gown loosely tied, hair unkempt, eyes red-rimmed from sleepless nights. He barely had time to process the intrusion before the arrest warrant was read in flat, unemotional tones. The charges were severe: suspicion of abusing his former public office, unlawfully disclosing classified national security documents, and transmitting sensitive information to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew recoiled, gripping the doorframe as his hands shook. His protest, "What are you doing?" came out half shocked, half indignant. Officers moved past him efficiently, presenting a court-signed search warrant. They methodically gathered evidence: laptops, mobile phones, external hard drives, and folders of documents pulled from a locked steel cabinet. Everything was bagged, sealed, and catalogued. Outside, police vans sealed off the driveway. Andrew was escorted out in handcuffs, attempting to maintain a dignified posture despite the visible slump in his shoulders, a subtle but unmistakable marker of inner dread. As the patrol car drove off, he glanced back through the darkened glass at the distant silhouettes of onlookers. One young officer murmured to another that this was far more than a routine arrest. It carried the potential to detonate like a bomb within the royal institution. The initial charges alone would have been damaging enough, given Andrew's well-documented history with Epstein, including admitted friendships, visits to the infamous Little St. James Island, and a string of prior accusations that had already cost him military titles, royal patronages, and much of his public allowance. Yet the situation escalated dramatically within days. Authorities revealed that Andrew had allegedly gone further. He had actively tried to entangle Prince William, the heir apparent and husband of Princess Catherine, Kate, in the Epstein web. This revelation ignited widespread speculation, even without an official comment from the royal household. Rumors raced through elite circles and online forums alike. The catalyst traced back roughly a week prior, to February 12th. A significant cache of previously sealed Jeffrey Epstein-related files had surfaced online, naming high-profile individuals with alleged ties to his activities. Andrew's name featured prominently, reinforcing long-standing suspicions. He recognized the pattern immediately. The family would distance itself swiftly to safeguard the monarchy's reputation, just as it had in previous crises. Cornered and facing total isolation, Andrew's desperation hardened into a calculated, ruthless strategy. If downfall was inevitable, he resolved not to face it in solitude. Meanwhile, Prince William, widely regarded as the steady, future-oriented pillar of the modern monarchy, found himself unexpectedly drawn into the storm. That same afternoon, as Andrew's arrest news reverberated through Kensington Palace, William received a grave but courteous telephone call from the Thames Valley Police chief detective. The officer requested his voluntary cooperation to clarify certain elements and avoid any misinterpretations. William, alone in his private study with its view of the garden, now muted by the dreary weather, paused to absorb the request. He understood the optics perfectly. Any hesitation could be spun as guilt by a voracious public and press. He agreed without delay, responding in measured, composed tones. The meeting occurred that evening in a discreet off-site location to minimize media exposure. The detective, a seasoned professional in his 50s with graying hair, presented copies of the key items discovered during the raid, an envelope tucked conspicuously in Andrew's unlocked desk drawer. Inside lay a handwritten note with vague allusions implicating William, alongside a grainy, distant photograph appearing to show a tall, fair-haired man resembling William in proximity to Epstein at a public charity function from over 20 years earlier. William studied the materials carefully. The note lacked concrete dates, sources, or specifics. The image was too ambiguous for definitive authentication. Suppressing a surge of anger, he stated clearly that his only encounters with Epstein had been fleeting and in public settings, details already widely known. The detective acknowledged this, but emphasized the need for thorough inquiry. Returning home, William retreated into silence, troubled not by fear of personal implication but by the suspicious convenience of the evidence's placement. For someone as cautious as Andrew in handling sensitive matters, leaving such damning materials so blatantly accessible seemed deliberately contrived. Determined to uncover the truth discreetly, William enlisted a trusted private security outfit, composed of ex-intelligence professionals operating outside official channels. Via encrypted communication, he instructed them to scrutinize the surveillance footage from around Andrew's residence over the preceding fortnight, searching for anomalies, deletions, or interference. The analysis returned swiftly, shortly after midnight. The cameras had functioned normally except for a cleanly excised 2-day period immediately preceding the raid. Recovery attempts failed. The erasure bore all the hallmarks of professional, intentional sabotage. This discovery crystallized William's suspicions. The plot went beyond mere self-preservation. It represented a deliberate attempt to ensnare him and destabilize the monarchy's core. The level of orchestration suggested someone had meticulously engineered a crisis to force concessions. In the weeks leading up to his arrest, Andrew had indeed sensed the gathering tempest. Alone in his dimly lit rental, illuminated only by his laptop's glow, he pored over leaked documents and headlines that spotlighted his name above all others. Sipping whiskey, he muttered bitterly about being cast aside permanently. Refusing passive acceptance, he devised a high-stakes gambit. Manufacture evidence linking William to Epstein, vague enough to evade immediate debunking yet potent enough to compel the palace to shield both brothers rather than sacrifice one. Marcus and Hale awaited further proceedings as accomplices. Legally resolved, the affair left enduring scars. William and Kate persevered with public duties, projecting stability amid private turmoil. The monarchy endured, but the episode exposed raw vulnerabilities, trust fractured, loyalty tested, and the fragile line between personal survival and institutional preservation laid bare. The royal family emerged shaken, forever altered by one man's calculated act of betrayal.